Welcome to our complete Week 7 NFL prediction video. We've included the over-under and point spread information, along with our projected scores for every game of the week. There are only two teams with a bye this week. They are the Chicago Bears and the Dallas Cowboys. Week 7 kicks off with the Denver Broncos visiting the New Orleans Saints on Thursday night. The over-under has been set at 37.5, with the Saints set as 2.5-point underdogs at home. There are a lot of questions and concerns for the Saints, who were one of the hottest teams the first 2 weeks of the season. Now, the Saints have lost their last 4 games and have been hit hard by injuries. Quarterback Derek Carr is listed as questionable this week, and their top 2 wide receivers have both been ruled out. When you combine all those issues with the fact that one of the league's top defenses is coming to town, it's easy to see why oddsmakers are favoring the Broncos. Our projection has Denver coming away with a 17-13 victory. The first game on Sunday's schedule has the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting the New England Patriots. The over-under for this game is 42.5, with the Jaguars being a 5.5-point favorite at home. Despite both teams coming into this game at 1-5, there are a few interesting storylines involved with this matchup. For the Jaguars, they desperately need to get Trevor Lawrence back on track after signing him to a massive contract in the offseason. The Patriots handed the reins over to number 3 overall pick Drake May last week, and there were moments to give the team and their fans hope. Depending on how the rest of the season goes for both teams, the most important aspect of this game may be how it impacts the order of the 2025 NFL Draft. Our projection has the Patriots upsetting the Jaguars with a 23-20 victory. The next game on the schedule has the Seattle Seahawks traveling to Atlanta to face the Falcons. Oddsmakers have set the over-under for this game at 51.5, with the Seahawks being 3-point underdogs. With Atlanta being on a 3-game win streak, and Seattle having lost their last 3 games, this is a matchup of 2 teams heading in opposite directions. We believe Seattle is a better team than the last 3 weeks have shown, but they are dealing with some injury concerns in the secondary, which could prove especially difficult to overcome when facing the league's 6th-ranked passing offense in Atlanta. We like Kirk Cousins and the Falcons at home, projecting a 30-26 Falcons victory. Next up, we have the 4-2 Buffalo Bills hosting the 1-4 Tennessee Titans. The over-under for this game is currently sitting at 41.5, with the Bills being a 9-point favorite at home. The Bills made a big splash this week when they acquired wide receiver Amari Cooper from the Cleveland Browns. Cooper, who is a phenomenal route runner that excels against man coverage, gives Josh Allen the true number 1 receiver he has been missing this season. The combination of Cooper's route running, Khalil Shakir's speed, and Keon Coleman's size gives Buffalo a variety of ways to attack opposing defenses in the passing game. We are projecting the Bills to win by a score of 24-13. The next game in our projection has the 1-5 Cleveland Browns hosting the 2-4 Cincinnati Bengals. Oddsmakers have set the over-under for this matchup at 41.5, with the Browns sitting as 6-point underdogs at home against their in-state division rival. Both of these teams have fallen well short of the expectations they had for this season. Joe Burrow and the rest of the Bengals offense has been outstanding, but their defense has fallen completely off this season. The Browns find themselves at the opposite end of the spectrum, with their offense ranking dead last in yards per game this season. Projecting this game is extremely difficult because we have no clue what to expect when the Browns' offense is on the field with Cincinnati's defense. If that wasn't bad enough, we also have to consider Joe Burrow's past struggles against Cleveland. His career record against the Browns is 1-5, and he has never won in Cleveland. We are betting on Burrow breaking that streak, projecting a 20-16 Bengals victory. Next up, we have the 5-1 Houston Texans visiting the 4-2 Green Bay Packers. The over-under for this game has been set at 47.5, with the Texans being 2.5-point underdogs on the road. This looks to be one of the most exciting games on this week's schedule. Both teams came into the season with high expectations and have lived up to the hype through the first 6 weeks. This matchup could go either way, but we believe the absence of Nico Collins, along with Green Bay's home field advantage, will prove to be enough to give the Packers the edge. Our projection has Jordan Love and Green Bay winning by a score of 27-24. The next game on the schedule has the 3-3 Indianapolis Colts hosting the 2-3 Miami Dolphins. Odds makers have the over-under for this game at 43.5, with the Dolphins being 3-point underdogs on the road. It sounds absurd, but the Dolphins are coming into this Week 7 matchup with the league's lowest scoring offense, averaging only 12 points per game, with a wide receiver group that includes Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Odell Beckham Jr. For the Colts, Anthony Richardson is back in the starting lineup this week. We actually believe the Colts offense has looked more dangerous with Joe Flacco at the helm, but understand why the younger quarterback is back in the starting position. Even with Richardson's return, we are projecting the Colts to pick up a 20-13 victory over the Dolphins. Next, we have our pick for the game of the week, with the undefeated Minnesota Vikings hosting the 4-1 Detroit Lions in a battle for the top spot in the highly contested NFC North. The over-under for this game has been set at 49.5, with the Lions set as 2-point underdogs on the road. While this should still be an outstanding game, it's unfortunate that Detroit will be without superstar defensive end Aiden Hutchinson after last week's devastating leg injury. Hutchinson's absence is a major blow, but we feel that rookie cornerback Terrion Arnold's presence on the field could also prove to be a major liability for Detroit in this game. Arnold is an extremely talented young player, but he has struggled with frequent pass interference penalties as he adapts to the NFL, and we believe Minnesota might try to exploit that weakness by frequently targeting him when he's matched up against Justin Jefferson or Jordan Addison. Our projection has Minnesota winning by a score of 30-27. The next game on the schedule is an NFC East divisional matchup, with the 2-4 New York Giants hosting the 3-2 Philadelphia Eagles. The over-under for this one is 42.5, with the Giants sitting as 3-point underdogs at home. After starting the season 2-2, the Eagles should thank the scheduling gods for having them follow up their bye week with the Browns and then the Giants, two of the league's weakest offenses. The Eagles are easily one of the biggest underperforming teams in the league. After last season's collapse and the rough start this year, we can't help but wonder if head coach Nick Sirianni's days are numbered, especially after seeing him argue with Eagles fans at the end of last week's game. Even with our questions about their coach, we're still projecting the Eagles to pick up a 20-16 victory over the Giants. If you're enjoying the video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing so that you don't miss future content from NFL Direct. Next, we see the 2-4 Las Vegas Raiders heading back to Los Angeles to face the 1-4 Rams. The over-under for this game is 43.5, with the Rams being a heavy 6.5-point favorite at home. In a week of big moves, the Raiders shipped out their top wide receiver and landed a legendary quarterback. Unfortunately, the quarterback is coming in as a minority owner, not a player. The Raiders may actually be the first team in league history to have an owner who could outperform any quarterback on the active roster. We hope this week's events will help lead to better days for the Raiders down the road, but they aren't likely to improve anything in the immediate future. Our projection has the Rams winning this game by a final score of 23-16. The next game on the schedule has the 4-2 Commanders hosting the 1-5 Panthers. The over-under for this game is sitting at 51.5, with heavily favored Washington giving up 8 points on the spread. Washington is coming off a tough one-score loss to a very talented Ravens team last week, but they played extremely well and showed that they can compete with one of the top teams in the league. The organization and its fans have to be excited with the progress the team has shown through the first 6 weeks of the season. The Commanders should be able to get back in the win column this week, with our projection having them picking up a 34-17 victory over the Panthers. Next, we're traveling to San Francisco, where the 3-3 49ers are hosting the undefeated Chiefs. The over-under for this game has been set at 46.5, with the Chiefs being 1.5-point underdogs on the road. This rematch of last season's Super Bowl has lost some its luster thanks to the injuries that have hit each roster, but both teams are still sitting atop their respective divisions. The Chiefs have been hit harder with injuries, having lost their top 2 receivers and their starting halfback, so it's easy to see why the 49ers are favored at home. However, San Francisco has been inconsistent, especially at the end of games. So we are taking the Chiefs in this one, projecting a 20-17 Kansas City victory. Sunday's schedule wraps up with the 2-4 Jets visiting the 4-2 Steelers. The over-under for this game is 38.5, with Pittsburgh listed as 2.5-point underdogs. It's possible both teams will look very different this week. Hoping to salvage their season, the Jets traded for Davante Adams, reuniting him with Aaron Rodgers. For the Steelers, Russell Wilson has been taking first-team reps in practice and may be returning to his preseason position as the team's starting quarterback. We're not sure the Jets' season can be saved, but we are projecting them to pick up a 23-13 victory in this matchup. Monday night's doubleheader kicks off with the 4-2 Ravens traveling to Tampa Bay to face the 4-2 Buccaneers. Oddsmakers have set the over-under at 49.5 and have the Bucs listed as 3.5-point underdogs at home. The Ravens have won 4 games in a row, including back-to-back hard-fought victories over the Bengals and Commanders, so we could easily see this game against a very talented Tampa Bay squad being a trap game. However, the Ravens' focus seems to be on a different level this season, so we are projecting a 27-24 Ravens victory on the road. Wrapping up Week 7, we have the 2-4 Cardinals hosting the 3-2 Chargers. The over-under for this game is 43.5, with Arizona being 2.5-point underdogs at home. The Chargers come into this game with the league's top-ranked scoring defense, allowing only 13 points a game this season. This should be a tough game for Arizona, especially if rookie standout Marvin Harrison Jr. is unable to play after sustaining a concussion last week. We are projecting a 23-16 Chargers victory in this game. For those of you that are interested, here is how we performed with last week's projections. And here is our record so far this season. Thank you for watching our video. If you've enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe.